All right, folks, it is May 20th, 2024, and we have a crypto pump alert. That is right, folks. We got to get right on into this update. I'm not going to waste any of your time, but this is going to be a live, full update where we go through it all. Current events, financial markets, cryptocurrency, with a focus on a crypto pump alert, and I'm going to give it to you right away. So if you want the crypto pump alert and you don't want to watch the whole 45-minute rant, I'll save you the time right now. What I'm looking at is this flipping of the narrative. Now the Ethereum ETF is going to get approved. CoinDesk putting out the alert, the Bloomberg ETF analyst putting out the heads up that this is basically completely reversed as far as the SEC approving the Ethereum ETFs. Now, we've been here before with Bitcoin. And so all I'm doing is I'm looking back at the historical performance of Bitcoin as its spot ETF rolled out. What happened? A buy the rumor, sell the news event. So I put out this post on my Twitter right before I went live here, and I'll show you guys what my thesis is very simply. Ethereum ETF alert. Don't fall for the bull trap rally. We have two scenarios that are about to play out. One, the ETF is approved, which equals a buy the rumor, sell the news event. Or it is denied or delayed, more likely to be delayed than outright denied. But if that's the case, then we get an even harder sell-off. So either way, it's going to be a sell-off. If we get the approval, we'll get a little bit more of an extended pump, and then we'll get the sell-off. If it's denied or delayed, well, then we just sell off. This is a pump, once again, based off of an ETF approval that we don't know if it's actually going to go through or not. Now, I'll show you guys the chart. I'll show you Bitcoin. We called it. Nobody wanted to hear it. And see, here's the thing, guys. If I wanted to be liked, if I wanted to get more views, more thumbs up on my videos, more shares, and if I wanted to go viral, we would just pump it up. If we wanted to be liked, we would just pump it up. Cheer on, clapping along, having a good time. Everything's all right. But we want to be effective. We have a choice between being liked or being effective. Funny enough, when you're effective and you bring real value to your audience, it turns out you end up being liked and you do get the engagement that you are, looking for and desiring. But the amount of people that told me to just enjoy the pump, bro, as we rallied up, ETF was approved on January 11th, the exact top. Here's the chart right here for you. You can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to zoom in on this moment. We're going back to January right now. We're taking a look at it. And we got all the way up to 49,000. I remember this like it was yesterday because it was when I was taking my vacation in Arizona down in Scottsdale. And it's where we actually recorded my interview for the XRP Unleashed documentary. Okay. And I remember putting it out. Nobody wanted to hear it. And then we dipped, crashed 21% down to 38,000. So even though we got approved, we still got a crash. Technical definition of a crash, essentially, by traditional market standards, 20% pullback in a time frame that only was about a week. Yeah. But by crypto standards, maybe, calling it a crash is a little bit dramatic, but it's a 20% pullback. No matter what you call it, no matter what you define it as, whatever makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside, we still got cleaned out for 21% pullback. So despite the fact that Ethereum is pumping right now, let's take a look at the chart. Okay, let me adjust this thing. Back on over here. Here we are. This is our current time frames on a daily. We went up to 4,100. That was back in March. Chopping sideways all the way back down here to 2,800. Now, today, this thing goes ballistic. This daily candle, massive. 20% daily candle. Welcome to crypto, right? And this is why we're here in this space. This is why this opportunity is so massive. You got a 20% daily candle. But this is where crypto continuously wrecks people who don't get it, who don't follow along, who don't want to hear it, who, plug their ears like a little 2-year-old. Wah, wah, wah. I don't want to hear it. Just give me the bullish. Let me put on the blinders. I want you to see clearly. I want you to see the setup as we warned you guys about. BlackRock and the boys are about to dump on you, which is exactly what they did from 49,000 to 38.5 for Bitcoin. What are they going to do with Ethereum this time? Are we going to pump all the way back up to 4,100? Go set a new all-time high for ETH? Now, what is the all-time high for ETH? I'm zoomed out here. Where did it go up to? About 48. That's right, about 48.5, almost 4,900 for Ethereum. Okay. So we're going to watch it. The whole market was up again today. We saw Bitcoin go up. And here's your chart right here for Bitcoin. Bitcoin with a little 5% pump, about 66,000 up to 71,000. Nice little deal back above 70K. It's going to be interesting to see if we can set this triple top formation for Bitcoin. Okay, actually is in a bullish pattern right now. If we can break through that 73.7, 73.8, basically, you know, nearly a 74,000 all-time high for Bitcoin. If we can punch through this triple top, that's exactly what we set in the gold and silver space as well. And I know not everybody's into commodities, not everybody's into precious metals, but I think it's important to understand all assets and all options in these financial markets, because I'll take the gains wherever I can get them. For gold, it's been a 23% this rally from the January lows to where we're at right now, an all-time high set for gold. And you have to understand this is part of the, as I put out the video today, this is part of a changing world order and asset prices being revalued. We are watching this in real time. Now, folks are going to come in and they're going to say, oh, the pump's over. That's it for silver. Just because we went up to $32.50 today and we've now pulled back to 31.3, you know, and we could pull back and even pull back to $30 or so, right? We got support here at 30. Have we flipped $30 into support? That's the question that I have right now. As far as upside, well, it just wouldn't surprise me at all to see this sucker rally up towards $40. $40 to $50. The all-time high is about $50. Been a long time since it hit that level, right? But for gold, it's already at all-time high. For copper, it's already at all-time high. And this is why, like I said, a new reality is being set, and it's assets being revalued. It's changing world order being set. This is why we have to plug in all this analysis. We can't just be crypto bros fiddling around with 50 different indicators on our TA charts thinking that we're going to make any sort of money trading against the most sophisticated hedge funds and AI bots that get to see your trades because they partner up with the market maker magicians and the exchanges, and then they get a bet against you and you think that you're going to fiddle around and make some money. Especially suckering into these hype cycles, these hype narratives. Like I said, if I wish that I could just be cheering this pump all along. But unfortunately, it looks like this will be, once again, another buy the rumor, sell the news event. Either way it goes. That's the crypto pump alert. But if you want the full analysis, stick around for the next 45 minutes. We're going to run up a session. God bless you all. Let's rock and roll. Starting off with our current events, let's get it going. If you guys haven't already, please make sure you have subscribed, hit that notification bell. And if you appreciate our content, make sure we smash it, tap it, and let's get it going. This is the crash site of the helicopter. The president of Iran is gone. He has passed away in this tragic helicopter accident in the fog. And I believe the foreign minister was on this one as well. You look at this, they're flying some old aircraft. I tell you what, the Bell T-12, VFR rated, visual flight rules, 40 plus years old. Canada actually grounded these in 2022 where they were made. Not good at high altitude. The visibility was under 5. No radar. Another crashed in 2023 in the Gulf. Many crashes over the last 5 years. This aircraft was sanctioned. No parts could legally be purchased. This is what they're flying their president around in. Now, I'm going to just make a little side point. For me, I always thought, oh, when I make it, right? When XRP goes to 589, I always thought, okay, we're going to be rolling around in the heli, right? We're going to be flying around in the choppa. Yeah, not anymore. That is no longer the plan, right? Kobe was one where I was like, dang, that was a big one. And then now we see this one with the president of Iran. I'm not trying to make a joke out of this. I'm just saying, for me, the helicopters, like, I'm kind of already a scaredy cat when I go to fly and stuff. I'm like sending out multiple prayers, even if we barely get any sort of, turbulence, right? We could have the smoothest flight. I'm still sending out some prayers. You better believe that. I even though I really don't get like overly scared, it's just, I count my blessings real quick before we take off, right? But with the helicopter, I'm like, man, I always thought that was the move. You live out on the ranch, you live out on the farm, and whenever you need to take a trip into the city to do some business or something, you fly the chopper in, right? That ain't happening anymore. Absolutely not for me. All jokes aside, folks, this is massive. There's rumors, a lot of speculation, and we can now confirm that it's down. He is gone along with the foreign minister and a few others. But we don't know what's going to happen next. We don't know who this was, if this was just in the fog. Some suggestions of a, inside job. You have an interesting deal there with the structure over there in Iran. But a huge vacuum is about to be filled up there in Iran. This is going to be a very interesting development to watch. Once again, this is what I would call part of a kind of a more covert, under the radar war that continues going on right now. And many people forget about this. They don't understand. And once again, they want to just look at the markets, which, stocks back up to all-time high, crypto's pumping again, and everybody just thinks it's all fine and dandy. As I've been saying, this war is still going on, massive implications for the asset prices. Inflation's still running hot, and the U.S. is in a silent recession. Now, speaking on the metals, let's get into it, folks. This has been very interesting to watch over the last 24 hours. The silver transactions on the Shanghai Futures Exchange show that almost all buying are short positions closing or short positions changing hands, and not a single one is in a long position opening. All of bears are in a state of big loss. The limit of buying increased to 19,000 lots. And when you look at the prices, see, it opened up at daily limit. So it opened up at the max amount that the price is allowed to move on a daily basis, 8%. Gold price in China at $2,485, silver price at $36.26. Silver up 6.6%, closed to another limit up in Shanghai. I had actually, as I prepared this show, I already had a post from this guy earlier in the day. The numbers just kept on getting better and better. And the arbitrage opportunity right now, the difference between the Western markets, the Western paper markets, and the physical, much more physical driven markets over in Asia, in the East, is really starting to widen. I'm seeing actually on the largest online retailer in China, upwards of $38 per ounce for silver. So while we're over here at 32.5 and we've cooled back off to $31 right now per ounce, they're trading at $36 to $38 online retailers over there. It's getting crazy. Now, it's interesting. Kobesi letter says investor allocations in U.S. stocks have reached the highest share in history. So we are overloaded on stocks and equities, and I think that we're about to make basically a return to mean, at least return to average on the commodities to equities ratio. This is why I still think that we have so much to run for gold and silver. Households, mutual funds, pension funds, and foreign investors' financial asset allocation in equities just hit 52%. Since 2022, this percentage has increased by about 7%, even surpassing levels seen in the dot-com bubble. At the same time, allocation in debt instruments like bonds has dropped by 8% to historic lows. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 has just hit its 23rd all-time high this year and is up 29% since October 2023. Bullish sentiment is incredibly strong. And in my opinion, they're bullish in the wrong, in the wrong assets, in the wrong moves. The equities have performed incredibly well, and that's fine. But I just ask, how much longer do they have to go? What's the fundamental thesis that drives us much further, 10 to 20% past the all-time high? There's not much there. Now, can gold go 10% past the previous all-time high? Well, absolutely. It's well on its way, actually. And for silver, we're finally playing catch up, but you can see we've done basically a 45% move for silver just since the lows of January this year. So just this year alone, we've already outperformed the market by quite a bit. So despite the fact that it's at all-time highs, well, okay, when did you buy in? Now, you could say, well, Zach, you're beating up the stock market and the equities while gold's at all-time high. Are you suggesting that we should go buy gold? Well, I'm not here to make any suggestions or give you any financial advice. Let's be very clear about that. But I will share my opinion. Like I said, fundamentally, gold has a ways to go still. Silver still has a ways to go. And there's a shortage of these commodities versus with the equities. There's no shortage. There's continued share dilution and share buybacks to help prop it up. So where is the value being derived from on that equity stock market? Hype, narratives, Jim Cramer, CNBC, lowest interest rates in 5,000 plus years. Record stimulus, 33% of the currency in circulation was injected, printed, or put as digits on a screen within the last few years. That's what took us there. And the next wave is where we go a transition back from equities to commodities. And we just have to approach the historical average to see those massive gains in the commodity sector. And these are the commodities that really drive our economy. Not just talking about doing a Green New Deal, but actually making something happen. You need the copper. You get you need these resources and these precious metals and these minerals out of the ground. And because we got to make sure we're doing it the green way and the New Deal way, we got the best mines, we got the best sources down here in Arizona, Nevada, in the United States of America, and it can take up to 20 years to permit and start to get to the point of even getting started on production before we get these minerals and these commodities out. Now, it's not as sexy as stocks. It's not as sexy as crypto, but if you're here to make money like I am, the sucker's up 40% since January. It's up even higher since the lows of about $17 to $20 anywhere. You don't even have to scrape the absolute bottom. But if you pull from the $17 to $20, right, we're up 50, 60% from those levels. And we're just getting started. The fundamental thesis, it still has a lot of life there. The only drivers for stock equities, right, is another round of stimulus and inflation, another round of money printing and stimulus. That's the only other driver. The drive right now is the hopium that the Fed is going to cut rates, but they're not going to cut it till the system breaks. Then the party's over. And folks don't look back at history. Folks think that we're in a new reality. No, this time is different, but it's a whole heck of a lot worse. But it's going to be even better if you're positioned in the right assets that are going to see that transition. The digits on the screen being allocated towards these assets that actually run the world versus digits on the screen being, swapped through this funny money market that is our, modern day stock market rigged casino. If it gets too out of whack, we just shut it down and halt it, just like we did with AMC and GameStop, halting it 38 times in one day. Right. And I'll tell you what, this is why I'm going off on this right now. The money managers and the financial advisors that are trying to sell you something, they're in full panic right now. Because when you pick this up and you hold it physically, they don't make a fee. There is no management. There also is no counterparty risk. That's the beauty, right? We can get exposure to this thing without having to pay a fee to Wall Street. That's why they hate it. Now, they like it for themselves, and central banks are actually still stacking at these prices. Central banks are still loading up. Now, continuing on, think of this. Put this into perspective. We have the highest allocations, if we go back to the last post, the highest allocation into equities that we've ever seen, right? Everybody's in the stock market. Meanwhile, global corporate defaults have surged to a total of 55 so far in 2024, the highest number since the 2020 dealio. This is in line with the 2023 count and 25% above the 10-year average. In April alone, global bankruptcies increased by 18%, the largest monthly jump since October of 2020. Defaults have been largely concentrated in the U.S., where 32 defaults have occurred year to date. The vast majority of defaults have been seen in telecommunications and technology, with $20.9 billion of debt defaulting. High interest rates are taking their toll on corporations. And that's not even including the conversation about commercial real estate. And if you guys were looking to eat at Red Lobster, well, I think they are still open. I don't know if they've shut their doors yet, but Red Lobster was one of the latest that just filed for bankruptcy. I guess the unlimited shrimp or whatever their deal was, it was a failure. But they had a lot of other problems with that too. I was reading some of the bankruptcy filing today, actually, and they had some significant problems. But nonetheless, Red Lobster, one of the latest to go. And see, once again, this is the disconnect between Wall Street and Main Street. What's happening at home? Well, for the households here in America, U.S. credit card delinquency rates jumped to 8.9% in Q1 of 2024, the highest since 2011. Now, to put this into perspective, the delinquency rates in 2021 were just 4%. This means credit card defaults have more than doubled in just 3 years and have been rising at the fastest pace since the 2008 financial crisis. Meanwhile, serious credit card delinquency rates of 90 plus days jumped to 7%, also the highest since 2011. U.S. consumers are feeling the pain of high rates with record high credit card debt. Is the credit card debt bubble bursting? Yes. I'll answer the question for you. Yes, this is the credit event. This is the massive default moment. This is what this is. Continuing on in the cryptocurrency update, I know everybody wants crypto. I know. That's why I gave you guys the alert at the start. Had to give you the full rundown of where we've been at, current events, financial markets. Here's your crypto. How's that Bitcoin program working out? Uh-oh, here we go. Venezuelan government claims that their plan to disconnect all Bitcoin mining farms is due to their high electricity consumption, leading to frequent power failures in surrounding areas. The Ministry of Electric Energy states that this action will prevent disruptions in power supply, ensuring reliable services for all Venezuelans. Authorities in Venezuela release video documenting the seizure of a large Bitcoin mining facility following this week's decree to crack down on the industry. How is that Bitcoin program working out? XRP fixes that, doesn't it? Now, we're about to have ourselves a stablecoin summer. If we get this stablecoin legislation through, and we are already seeing it in Europe with MiCA set to go live, so the stablecoin summer will be starting in Europe, that's for sure. Now, in the United States, are we going to get our act together? We did just get a bill passed in the House. We got a couple crypto bills, and we just had the Senate, pass that most recent bill that strikes down the SEC. Now it's off to Biden's desk. We're going to see what happens. And now they've flipped too, and they're saying, right, that the Ethereum ETFs are going to get approved. It's almost like they know some folks are watching this election closely, and they're saying, hey, we want the freedom to be able to transact using digital assets, please. Well, Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire says on June 30th, in the stablecoin rules, quote, you are going to see a ton of movement in the Euro stablecoin space. There are going to be tons of companies that are entering. You might see 50 different companies competing, including big companies, large pan-European banks, large pan-European fintechs, and firms that are crypto narrative. Reminder, Ripple will launch its own stablecoin at the perfect moment. Yeah, and I'm very interested to see if Ripple considers launching a Euro stablecoin. That's going to be interesting to watch. The US one's going to be a big deal. And as Jeremy Allaire is saying right here, it's about to be a stablecoin summer on June 30th. The MiCA legislation is going into effect, I guess. And then we just saw the blockchain some sort of blockchain adoption act got passed where they're trying to accelerate. They're trying to take away power from the SEC, give it to the Secretary of Treasury. And this is a big deal along with the Senate, the SAB 121 bill. So we're starting to see some progress, and they know that they can get some votes. And what I worry about is in this legislation, the big thing that it looks like they want to go after is self-custody. That's going to be the big one, because your ability to be your own bank and the power of DeFi and the power of everything crypto was intended to be, peer-to-peer cash, right? The Bitcoin white paper. The whole premise of this relies on us being in control of our assets, not allowing somebody else to be the custodian and hold it and take care of it and move it for us. Now, with that power comes great responsibility. That's why we need to be taking the time to learn about DeFi, learn about wallets, learn about how to use DEXs, AMMs, how to do due diligence on platforms that are saying, hey, we're going to give you 15% if you stake on our exchange using our exchange token. We're going to pay you 15% back in said exchange token. And you got to ask, where is the yield being generated from? If you don't know where the yield's being generated from, you're probably the yield. Okay. And this is the deal, right? Is these exchanges have had these programs, they've been running them. Unfortunately, they mostly have shut them down in the United States and Canada, and in large part Europe as well. But now we're starting to see the legislation come through that will allow the DeFi to really run. And really, it's mostly been shut down in the US, Canada. But I suspect that we're about to see this get set forward. And that's going to be when the DeFi will be allowed to thrive, but you know that they want to be in control, right? So we'll still custody your assets, we'll still hold them, and we'll do the DeFi for you, which is great for a lot of people. A lot of people are not meant to do self-custody, are not meant to handle DeFi themselves. And that's fine, right? But for those that are capable, that are trying to have that sort of freedom, to embrace that way, that idea that was incepted in the original Bitcoin white paper, peer-to-peer cash, right? And then as we came along here with DeFi, right? Patents put out by Reggie Middleton for DeFi, other methods, right? This is allowing us to be our own bank, to hold it, but then also to be able to get that use out of it through the DeFi. And what I love to see is our DeFi for the XRP ecosystem is being added at the protocol level. And it's different from the layer 2 smart contracts on Ethereum and all these other platforms, which basically make a third-party controller of the program versus the protocol conducting the work. And I'm putting it into the most simple, dumbed-down layman's terms because that's how I understand this stuff, right? I'm not a techie. I don't mess around with any of this stuff, other than I know the simple basics of how to use these wallets, these DEX platforms, the AMM user interfaces, right? And I'm still learning, and I don't have access to many of these platforms because I live in the United States and I live in a terrible state for crypto as well. So I get the double whammy, which is why I can't trade futures right now. I mean, I could with a VPN, but I don't do that. In regards to this moment though, what you are seeing confirmed right now is Wall Street is showing up for the ETFs, but they're also taking the opportunity to leave positions at the top Wall Street firms to go work for crypto companies. Another case in point right here. Crypto asset manager Grayscale hires Goldman Sachs executive Peter Mintzberg as new CEO. Now, we've seen this from Ripple. They've been able to acquire some of the best talent in the world, government, banking, institutions, the best talent in the world, literally. The all-star cast in crypto is the team at Ripple, is the board of directors, is their board of advisors. Now we're seeing that Grayscale, though, the largest platform, and they're set to get their ETH ETF approved as well, right? They can roll that ETH1 into that ETH trust. They can roll that into an ETF. They're also got their large cap funds. They got a head start of a lot of other players right now. Grayscale in a great position, and this is what's been able to attract talent from Goldman Sachs and executive level to come be the new CEO. So, you know, to say that these guys aren't going to be involved anymore, that they're not interested, I mean, it's clear as day. In fact, now they're starting to come out and say the adoption is accelerating faster than expected, faster than what's being reported. And this has kind of been our speculation this whole time, is that they've been getting their ducks in a row behind the scenes. While they let us play in this speculative environment of Mickey Mouse meme coins, they've been getting all of their ducks in a row, and they're building out the key infrastructures that are actually going to be built to last, not come and go like you see on all these charts of these Mickey Mouse meme coin pump and dumps. Another case in point of a Wall Street move, well, this one from Ripple. Robbie Mitchnick is an ex-Rippler. Now he is at BlackRock and he's the head of digital assets. And remember that Robbie Mitchnick is actually the person who helped Larry Fink, quote unquote, get it when it came to cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. Robbie Mitchnick, former Rippler, is the one who helped Larry Fink get it. And I firmly believe, I said it back in January, that a BlackRock ETF is coming. And guys, it's going to be one of many. They are coming. They're coming in a major way. And BlackRock is all over this thing. And I just take it back to when Charlie Gasparino interviewed Larry Fink, and you could see the glimmer in his eye as Gasparino asked Larry Fink about XRP and the possibility of an XRP ETF. And Larry chuckles, and the smile is so bright. Oh, I can't talk about that, Charlie. You know that. I can't talk about that. I don't think you'd like what I'd have to say about that. Yeah. And they get to watch the XRP community blow up and everybody goes crazy, right? And I just imagine Charlie and Larry just texting each other back late at night over a glass of whatever they drink as they're winding down for the day, just texting back and forth, just laughing themselves to sleep. But anyways, Robbie Mitchnick sitting beside ex-Ripple board member Zoe Cruz, and he's speaking on this move that Wall Street's making into the space. Listen in here, folks.
Of American adults holding some exposure to Bitcoin or crypto, obviously it was a fraction of that for institutions. And a big driver of that was historically there were enormous frictions for institutions to be able to hold directly. And now I think that's why the ETFs have been such a game changer, because they've brought that to a level of parity where you have, for the first time, efficient, turnkey, low-cost exposure vehicles. And so we're starting to see the journey that institutions now go on as a result.
Lauren?
I think we've talked.
The future of digital assets in a post-spot Bitcoin ETF world. And that was the hype of today. That's what drove Ethereum up 20% today, is this whole rumor and speculation that the ETH ETF is about to get approved. Now, here's where it's derived from. The SEC asks exchanges to update their 19B4 filings on an accelerated basis for spot Ethereum ETFs, CoinDesk reports. Now, what I'm wondering is, in their disclosures, are they supposed to say that Ethereum's a commodity or a security? Are they supposed to cite Bill Hinman's free pass speech as, Ethereum not being a security? Based off of Mr. Bill Hinman's speech back in 2018, this asset is viewed as a non-security by the SEC. Are they supposed to include that in their disclosures? I'm just wondering, right? Is it a commodity? Is it a security? Gary Gensler can't answer that question, right? So how are they going to pass the ETFs? That's what I don't get. How can you pass the ETFs on an asset that you can't disclose whether you know it's a commodity or a security? Simple question, simple disclosure. Nobody at the SEC can answer. Besides Bill Hinman back in 2018, he was happy to share that opinion, wasn't he? Now, Eleanor Terrett, an issuer source tells me the spot Ethereum ETF development, things are, quote, evolving in real time. A 200% odds increase from Bloomberg on the SEC approving a spot Ethereum ETF. Now, this is from Eric Balchunas and Nate Garachi. So, these guys, big ETF players, okay? Eric Balchunas, senior ETF analyst for Bloomberg. They are updating this. It was 25% odds. Now they're moving it all the way up to 75% odds, okay? Now, my apologies. We are going to see whether or not it does get passed, but like I said, we have two scenarios. First one, the ETF is approved, equals a buy the rumor, sell the news event, or ETF denied or delayed, even harder sell-off. But don't say we didn't warn you. All I'm saying is if you go back and you look at the chart, look at what Bitcoin did. We had that massive run-up leading up to the news that the ETF was going to be approved, and then we had the massive 21% correction. So I wish that we could pump it up, and we probably will a little bit more. But either way, it'll be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. If it is approved, it'll be a buy the rumor, sell the news. If it's denied or delayed, well, it'll be a sell-off as well. So either way we go, look out. This is Ethereum right now. Let me fix my chart here. Here's your Ethereum right now. Quite a move. 20% in a day. Pretty spectacular. Now, XRP XRP was back up to about 54.5 cents earlier today. And so we're going to continue to be watching this market, as we could see the overall market kind of run up, take part in a little bit of a pump on this ETH ETF hype news. But I would just remain cautious from longing the farm. Like I said, I'm so long on crypto, I don't worry about my long-term bag. I don't look at the price on a daily basis and calculate, how much are my bags worth today? I don't look at that. What I look at is the moves on a daily basis, and I determine that by actually zooming out and looking at larger time frames, like the weekly chart, the monthly chart zoomed out, looking at key support and resistance, not adding 50 different indicators, watching the sentiment, and watching doofus morons get suckered into these rallies time and time again. It's just a simple method of technical analysis for me over here. Now, from a fundamental basis, what drives Bitcoin higher? Well, we already had it go to all-time highs before the halving. That's unprecedented. Is that bullish? Does that mean that this cycle is different? Well, we will see. The main drivers right now, I believe, for Bitcoin have been the ETFs. We'll see more ETFs get launched, I'm sure. Large cap funds that will include the Bitcoin, right? But the main driver right now for Bitcoin in the overall stock market is just going to be more money printing from the Fed, from the Treasury, providing a backstop for the banks, turning back on that money printer, making it go burr, and interest rates dropping, and basically them easing conditions, right? That's the main drivers of your stock and your Bitcoin. Now, your main drivers for Ethereum, well, this ETF would definitely be a big driver for it. But the problem is these type of events are so coordinated now, guys. This is not, we all get to hop on board, we all get to make money and have a good time. Now, we've gotten used to that during these cycles where you could throw money at anything and you would catch some gains, right? You can invest in 10 different cryptos. One of them would do a 10x and you'd make your money that way. We are transitioning, as Robbie Mitchnick said in his clip, from an era of rampant speculation into an era of institutions coming in to kill, metaphorically speaking. The institutions are not coming in to play nice with us. And if you want a case in point of that, look at how well they've suppressed the gold and silver markets through their derivative schemes over the past couple decades. Well, really, basically the last decade, since we were at all-time high in 2011. Then from that point forward, we had the lowest interest rates in 5,000 years, the best of times, massive money printing. And so gold didn't really start to make a real run up until about 17, 18. And then again in 2020, we did the triple top formation over the past few years. We finally broke through, and now we're in an all-time high new reality. Is that coming for Bitcoin? Very possible. I mean, it looks like we're about to set a triple top formation, but we would need to break through that. And, to the upside, how much more life does it have? Until we get more money printing, I just don't think it has that much, right? Does it have 100K life in it in the next couple months? No, I don't really believe that. Does it have 75K? Sure. Does it have 75 to 80K? Sure. What's left after that, though? What narrative, what can move it after that? Now that you have the ETFs, you have full open, and here's the thing. For Bitcoin, you've had a certainty, a broader general consensus in the markets that it's a commodity. So there's been no sort of uncertainty. There's been no concern. There's been a free pass. And at this point, guys, I will take some Q&A. So drop your comments and questions down below. While you're doing that, make sure you tap it, smack it. Make sure you share it out far and wide. If you haven't already, you appreciate what we're doing, you can subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of our updates, including when I go live in the middle of the night, firing it up, 11:30 Eastern. It's only 8:30 my time. So sun was still shining out here when I hopped in here. And so if you don't want to miss our updates, make sure you're tapped in there. And then all of our community resources are at my website, zachrector.com. I just want to say we had the website was kind of having some issues under maintenance over the weekend. And I had people messaging me, hey, I want to buy gold. Your website's down. And I, am sorry about that. The website was having some issues. We have now updated it. It is good to go. So we are live. You want the metal shipped directly to you, roll over 401k, done. You want crypto exchanges, you want wallets, you want to get tapped in with our private community. It's all there. It's all working once again. Apologies that the website was down over the weekend, zachrector.com. Let's do Q&A. Now, as I was saying though, for Ethereum and for Bitcoin, there's been no uncertainty about what it is. And then with the ETF, it allowed everybody. And so just like you saw last week, and this is a big deal, got to pay respect where it's due. Nearly 1,000 institutions, investment boards, and different, investment funds have made allocations towards Bitcoin. That's what got disclosed, all these SEC filings. You had Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, the guys that said it was a pet rock, Jamie Dimon, and now Jamie Dimon's going into retirement. Now, isn't that funny? He goes from saying it's a pet rock and only criminal activity and it's all crap to, oh yeah, we are going to be the custodians. We are going to make sure that we make our money on the ETFs. To, oh yeah, in our most recent disclosures there, yeah, we did pick up some Bitcoin. Whoops, I forgot to tell you that one. Oh, by the way, the window on me retiring's coming here soon. And it's so funny listening to Jamie Dimon in his most recent interviews. It's all about philanthropy for these guys now. It's all about just the love of life and, just looking to spend time with my family. I'm just a family man and I'm just doing. These guys are so full of crap. These guys, it's unbelievable. These guys cut and slash their way to the top and then they make it to the top, right? And then it's all, which I mean, that's as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical, that's how I plan on doing it too, right? Is cut and slash my way to the top, legal, moral, and ethically. Okay. but I'm still going to remain a family man. I'm still going to remain, try to remain humble and try to remain focused on what matters most. But these guys, they just crack me up. I'm not going to be these guys trying to say that they're here to save the world. It's just hilarious. I just find it funny. And then how they pivoted on Bitcoin and crypto is also hilarious. Do you think that Gary Gensler will be employed next year? Well, that's the big thing, is that he's probably going to be gone within the next year. And if Biden gets elected, he'll get some sort of position, maybe somewhere else, Secretary of Treasury. And if Biden loses, then he'll be gone as well. Do we know what limit we can transfer? I'm not sure I understand the question. You can transact as much as you want on the XRP ledger. Yeah, it's still not going to... I mean, just remember, what was his name? Michael Arrington said that he raised $50 million for his fund, all in XRP, and it cost him 50 cents to move it all. Would you even 2x if you bought Ethereum now? That's my point, Eric. That's exactly it. I mean, what drives ETH further? You've had the clarity that it's not a security. You had the free pass. The only next thing was the ETF. The ETF will drive it, of course. You'll probably get that initial buy the rumor, sell the news event, and then maybe you can carry on up, just like Bitcoin did, where Bitcoin went up to 49,000. On the rumor that the ETF was going to be approved, it started to pump, and then it turned out to be fake. The pump started back in October. Remember, the rumors for the ETF started back in October, and then it didn't go live till January. So right now, there's rumors that it's about to go live. Okay, it still might be another month or two. Nonetheless, Ethereum can pump in the meantime. Then we expect a sell-off. I don't care what happens, whether it's approved, delayed, or denied, sell-off. Guaranteed. If I could trade futures right now, you know what I would be prepared to do. After that, though, are we going to see a new base set on Ethereum and then it gets to build back up from there for the remainder of this bull run? That's probably what's going to happen. And it's interesting because despite the fees and how terrible Ethereum is, it still remains at that number 2 spot. It still remains massive, still has a bunch of usage. And you got to look at where's it coming? Why is Ethereum still so popular, still holding this spot? I just saw a post last week And I forget the numbers, but it was literally hundreds of thousands of tokens have been created on Ethereum, like recently. Like not overall, but like recently. And so they just have a bunch of tokens. There's a bunch of crap. There's a bunch of memes. And all of it equates to gas fees, ETH being burned, people needing to use ETH, people needing to hold ETH, people not wanting to sell assets because the gas fees are so high. So they end up holding assets that maybe they would have considered selling, but it's going to cost them $50 to sell. So they just think, well, maybe I'll just hold. So it actually is the reverse of what you would think. You would think, oh, the fees and all this would drive down. Nobody would want to use it. That's not the case, as we've seen here. Now, when it comes to moving serious amounts of liquidity, though, that's a completely different story. And that's the adoption that we're seeing right now. If you guys saw, we did a video this morning. It did incredibly well, and it was an update from Ripple that I broke down. Highly encourage you guys to go check that one out. If you missed it, I dropped that this morning. And it was basically, I titled it, Ripple Confirms XRP, what was it? Confirmation from Ripple, XRP confirmation from Ripple, I think was what it was called. And it was a 4-minute video. I broke it down. But the big takeaway, massive takeaway that we have from it is that Ripple Payments is now moving 60% of their flows are settling on on-demand liquidity using XRP. So 60%. It went from about 25% of clients are using XRP ODL to now 50% was the update that we got last year. 50% of Ripple Payments is going through ODL. And now this year, we're already at 60%. $30 billion through 20 million transactions. Now, 30 billion since ODL's inception of 2019 is nothing. It's literally nothing. Okay. But what's going to be interesting to see is ODL is already live now in Europe and the UK, confirmed by Simon McLaughlin, CEO of Uphold. But now we're going to be going live here in the United States as well, with the potential for that business model to get the sign off from the judge as well in her final ruling. So there's a couple of things left here. The main thing on the case is we're waiting for Judge Netburn to rule whether or not that witness gets to be an expert or summary witness. I don't even really understand that whole process, but nonetheless, the SEC doing what the SEC does best, trying to insert evidence, insert a witness after summary judgment's already been decided. So, I'll let the lawyers break that one down further. We'll get the ruling from Judge Netburn, and then it's going to be the final ruling from Judge Torres as far as disgorgement with penalties and interest, how much is going to be paid, and whether or not the ODL sales that were conducted after the lawsuit, whether or not that's included in the penalty, whether or not those sales are good to go, and whether Ripple can sell XRP for ODL going forward. This is why I'm saying that there's a potential for Ripple to get the sign off on that business model. Diamond Hands, thank you so much for the 5 spot. What do you think about RSR? I don't know if I've ever heard of that coin. What is RSR? Oh, reserve rights. Yeah, I heard about that coin a long time ago. I don't know anything about it other than I've heard about it I heard about it a few years ago. I don't know anything about it, to be honest, but Diamond Hands, I do appreciate that. I can take a look into it. Everybody's got a story with their little coin, don't they? I can take a look into it for you. Shannon says, that was a great video today. Thank you. Yeah, we got a lot of good feedback on that one. Yep. Raphael says, sickening how some devs call us conspiracy theorists when you'll have random guys go on Bloomberg or CNN and completely describe XRP and some sort of coin to be a bridge, but we're all clickbait XRP. 100%. So there's a problem. We've been proven right so many times. I'm not even going to go into it because it borderlines on topics that are sensitive. I'm not even going to get into it. I just asked the question, how's your program working out? Believing what they told us. I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm not even going to say anything for it. I don't need to prove it that we were right. I don't need to show them documentation. I don't need to say anything to them. They're going to keep being in that mindset that none of this is connected. Is the Federal Reserve, was the inception of the Federal Reserve a conspiracy? Yes. Is the ongoing existence of the Federal Reserve a conspiracy? Yes. Yes. But we're crazy to think that there's going to be some sort of plan for the new financial system. There's nothing crazy about that. This is all planned. The financial system is a beast in and of itself that they plan out a long time in advance, and nothing happens by chance. It absolutely will be, it's the definition of a conspiracy. And I believe that when you can apply that understanding to fundamental analysis, to technical analysis, including a little bit of esoteric analysis, well, there's your secret sauce. There's massive gains. And for me, my largest holding, XRP, still hasn't made the gains of some, but from a fundamental basis, it just continues to stack. The utilities continue to be added. And for those that say that Ripple was going to pivot, no, they're actually growing. And what was so interesting about the video that I shared today was listening to their key partners in all these different jurisdictions and corridors: Abu Dhabi, Europe, UK, Africa. They're live in South America, Brazil. Common theme: our growth is accelerating. Our growth has doubled. We used to have a few partners coming through the door. Now we have dozens, where we have partnerships that we never would have been able to have if it wasn't for Ripple's solutions. We're using Ripple's treasury management solutions to lock up dormant and free capital. Those Nostro Vostro accounts were 21 to 30 trillion, depending on who you ask. The common theme was growth, expansion for Ripple partners. Meanwhile, look at the rest of the space. I just shared with you guys the corporate bankruptcy filings. We've already seen the banking crisis continuing, and there's a long ways to go. So when you look at what Ripple now can offer through the custody solutions, through Medico Harmonize, when they acquire and the approval goes through for standard custody and trust, they'll be able to custody the assets, hold them within a trust company, which also is going to help them for the stablecoin. And if they wanted to launch a Euro stablecoin, additional stablecoins, they easily would be able to do so. My theory this whole time is that they're going to have some of their partners, for example, Tranglo in the Philippines, will fire up the Philippine peso stablecoin, and Ripple will have the US stablecoin, right? And you'll be able to have that issued on the XRP ledger and be able to source and tap into some of the best liquidity in the world. That's where I think this vision for the deep open public pools of liquidity for the XRP ledger is starting to come to fruition. We still have so far to go, because just look at what Circle CEO Jeremy Allaire said in the clip that I shared here earlier today. Basically, we're going to have a stablecoin summer, and we're going to have 50 different institutions and banks looking to become issuers for that stablecoin. I'm telling you guys, the institutions aren't coming to play. They're coming to take what was theirs. The entire financial market and the whole industry was theirs. They controlled it all. And the problem that they're having right now is that folks are keeping their own assets under their own management. That's what I was saying earlier about gold and silver. They don't want you in gold and silver, especially holding gold and silver yourself, right? They don't want you to be doing that. They don't get to collect their fees on that. They don't want you to hold your own crypto, to provide your liquidity to the AMM, to participate in other DeFi on-chain lending where you become the banker. You become the bank. They don't want that. And the only way that they can exist in that future is to be the service provider that handles that custody, that handles that DeFi, that handles that management on your behalf, because you're unable or unwilling to do so, which in and of itself is is actually most investors. Just look at people in the 401k programs. 50 plus percent of people don't even know what their 401k is invested in. So are there going to be people that want Coinbase to manage their crypto, manage their DeFi? Absolutely. Absolutely. Most people will. That is the solution for mass adoption. I am not delusionally thinking that everybody's going to be a self-custodian DeFi god that stacks silver and everything else too. That's what we do over here, right? But God bless them. Some people, that's not going to be their deal. I'm not going to tell my grandma that she needs to figure out how to use the AMM. I'm going to tell my grandma to click the button on Coinbase that says earn 5% on your XRP, earn 10% doing this. It's got to be simplified for mass adoption. Any other questions, comments? If you guys haven't already, make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell, check out our website, zachrector.com. Bitcoin was the Trojan horse, and this is what I'm seeing is that the politicians are realizing that the crypto vote matters. The crypto vote's very popular, and for them to be able to get that, they're going to have to swing in the wind as politicians do, and they're about to hop on board the train. Like Rosie Rio said, they're about to get on board that train, but I'm worried about them including the back doors to remove your ability for self-custody to effectively control and kill DeFi or take control. Because some of this stuff they can't get rid of. There you go, Dual. Rolled my 401k over from traditional IRA and dumped it all into XRP, or into a traditional IRA and dumped it into all XRP and some other quality alts. There you go. You know, when folks ask me, and I'm not here to give anybody financial advice, but I don't roll everything into gold and silver. Some people think that that's what they should do with their 401k. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but probably not, right? Probably shouldn't go 100% in gold and silver, right? If you have a 401k and you're wanting to make a decision, there's many different options now available, right? Where you can get exposure to precious metals, you can get exposure to cryptocurrency, you can get exposure to private equity. What I want for folks is you to just know what the heck you're invested in. Even if you're not capable and you still want to have a financial advisor, that's great. You probably should, right? And I like listening to financial advisors. I like listening to CNBC. I like listening to Wall Street pundits, even though I disagree with most of them, including the economists that they pull on. The PhD economists that have never ran a business in their life. I like listening to them just so that I can understand their mentality and basically how the enemy is trading against me. What the enemy is trying to sell the masses. Right? So I'm not saying ditch your financial advisor, ditch your 401k, go all in gold and silver and use my link below. No. We need to have a well-rounded approach. We need to understand all of the assets. We need to get the side hustle or the business cooking, or we need to figure out how to get a raise at our job. Inflation's not going away. It's still running hot. We need to figure out if we're even going to have a job. Massive layoffs and the unemployment data is one of the greatest misleading indicators of the actual job market. Everybody wants to look at headline unemployment. That only tells you half the story, and it tells you half the story that doesn't matter. It tells you that people are working 2 and 3 jobs to survive. That's what the unemployment rate shows you. Look at the people that have dropped out of the workforce completely. Look at the people that are underemployed. Look at the people that are employed, but like I said, 2, 3 jobs. Right? Look at the massive amount of layoffs that have occurred, the massive amount of packages that these employees have been given. A lot of the layoffs haven't even hit yet because they've been given huge packages upon their departure. So they haven't filed for unemployment yet. They haven't filed for or have looked for a new job yet. Now, remember, folks, this is our time. 100%. In conclusion, I will just say I've never felt more firm in my position that this opportunity is going to be one of the best that we see in a long time. In a very, very long time. The new realities being set confirm that for me. Right. And when we look at the data, we are starting to see that this is it. It's happening. The moment where everything is going to, excuse my language, hell in a handbasket, right? Everything's going to crap, but our assets are going up. Stock market too. Assets going up, crypto going up. Everybody's having a good time, right? But the world around us is on fire. The world around us is in a war. The United States is in a silent recession. If you actually know how to decode the data, you can see the truth, and you will see clearly that the struggle is real for the middle class and poor of this country. And if you don't have a program, you're going to get left behind or wiped out. Not just left behind. You won't just be standing on the sidelines watching the opportunity pass you by. You're going to get wiped out. Cease to exist. Turning the key on the business. And that's what breaks my heart for that regular person who's done the right thing. They went to school, they got a job, they saved, they did everything right. The American dream existed there for a moment. The American dream as we know it today, most would suggest isn't quite there. Or at least it's a little bit different this time around, right? Now, we're going to still make sure it happens for you and your family, your investments. Everything that we're doing right now is to make sure that you get on the right side of the transfer of wealth. That's why I continue to show up on a daily basis. I am so happy to have my YouTube channel back. The feedback that I got on today's video, so encouraging. Going to XRP Las Vegas, getting to meet in real life, face to face, shaking the hand, giving the hugs. And folks telling me, man, thank you. And that was the biggest thing. Thank you. Thank you for putting out your content on a daily basis. Thank you for dropping it. Thank you for keeping it coming. Appreciate what you do. And that filled me back up, and I was ready to get back to work. We got the YouTube channel back, and we are off to the races once again. The competition can't keep up. Competition's still trying to figure it out. I don't spend any time on them. I don't spend any time on the haters anymore. We're focused on our program and doubling down and hitting that accelerator, just like the Ripple partners. Our growth, we've doubled. Instead of having 3 people walk through the door, we got dozens. We got partnerships we never could have had. This is what I want for you. We don't need to just watch, the folks want to say, oh, Ripple's making all this money. Brad and Chris, they're making all this money. They got a Porsche, they got a house, they got this, they got that. We're well on our way. I'm happy where I'm at in this journey. I don't want anything given to me. I'm well on my way. All I ask God for is the opportunity. God willing, I get another decade to get it done. I'd like to have a few. I'd like to have a lot more. I'd like to live, quite a bit longer. But I'd say, God willing, I just get another decade or 2, and it's a done deal. We're well on our way. We have a program that works. And he or she who gets focused first and stays focused longest will win most. It's that simple, from the words of my mentor, Dan Pena. With that being said, guys, I'm going to wrap up this session. If you guys appreciate what we do, you know what to do. Tap it, smack it, share it out far and wide. If you haven't already, let's subscribe, hit that notification bell. And everything that we provide for you guys as far as community resources is at my website. It's zachrector.com. New update dropping tomorrow morning as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned, and we will see you guys in the next one. God bless you all. Thank you so much.